Hey guys, what's happening? You guys could give me a 5 for 5 real quick, and yeah, we'll go ahead and hop into this. Um, yeah, if you guys read I know it's kind of a odd, kind of impromptu kind of thing going on here, but if you read the thumbnail, yeah, we got hit with a geomagnetic storm we weren't really expecting to see. So yeah, so we'll leave it at that. I'm going to go ahead and get started, guys. I know we don't have a whole lot in here right now. Everybody else is live right now too. Marv, I'm not sure if he's still live or not. I kind of skipped out. It's a little early to do this. I think he was ending his show anyway. But so I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this. We did a really good interview over on the Lifeboat, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Johnny Scobell was doing an interview tonight with us. It was a good one, guys. A really good one. But so what am I even talking to you here? Well, let's talk about this. I just was checking things like I always do, guys. And so I come over here to Space Weather Prediction Center and I see this. You see the G1 here? This wasn't there yet. Okay? What this shows you guys is latest observation, right? This part here. This gives you a 24-hour observed maximum. So if it sees the highest point that it sees, it'll put it there within a 24-hour, rolling 24-hour. Thank you, Mr. Dragon. Appreciate you. The rolling 24-hour time period there, it'll show you the highest of what you see. So Geomagnetic Storm 1 right now. I don't see us going any higher, and I'm going to show you why. What's up, brother Tom A in the his A? As you can see here, guys, look. See the geomagnetic activity chart here on the KP. This is important because I've discovered another tool that I haven't been showing you guys. I think I showed it to you once. I was watching Tamitha Scobe and she used it, and I thought it was awesome because what you're seeing here, these are 3-hour time blocks. Okay, so you got 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 9, midday to 12, and again, 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's a 3-hour increment, and it puts an average there. Hey Johnny, what's up, bud? And so what you're seeing here, guys, again, that's just a 3-hour time block. So are we seeing a geomagnetic storm here? No, we don't see anything here. But it's saying that we're in a geomagnetic storm. So how can that be, right? Is something wrong with the site? Is there data collection a little off? What's going on here? And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. But I do want to point out before we leave this part of the page here, we did have an M-class flare. This was back about midday. Now remember, when I say midday, we're talking UTC time. And if you're on the East Coast, that's 4 hours time difference. So midday over there, 12 o'clock over there is 8 a.m. for us right here. Hey, Major. So keep that in mind when we're talking about time frames, because just about every tool I show you over here, they use UTC because they try to use that universal time so everything stays consistent when they're trying to do mathematics, and just so everybody knows exactly what time frame we're talking about. It can be used as a global default. Okay, so that's what everybody goes back to: UTC, GMT, Greenwich Means Time. It's really the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to get into what the difference is. One of them they use an atomic clock, and then the other one they use, location of the sun and all that. I'm not going to get into details there because it's really kind of like splitting hairs. So I'm not going to. It's the same exact time zone, essentially, minus a couple seconds here and there. But so if you were just to come over here and look, you wouldn't see any kind of geomagnetic storm. So you'd be left to wonder, what the heck is happening? Why is it showing us G1 storm here and not here? Well, because it's not 3 a.m. UTC time yet. So it doesn't plot it here yet. So, how do I know we were there? Well, there's a couple things we can go look at And one of those things is, actually, you can just scroll down on this page and look at the ACE data. I don't like you looking at this data because it's, number one, it's a little bit more difficult to read. Number two, I just think the Discover data, it's essentially the same data, but it's done in a better way. I think it's a little bit more accurate from what I can, discover, if I could steal their word there. But again, even on the Space Weather Prediction Center Discover page, the solar wind, look here, it's even showing a geomagnetic storm there. So, and the other thing I would say is none of this was expected. Hey, Russell. Hey, John. So as you can see, so why are we at storm level? Well, back here, guys, the BZ, remember the angle of our magnetic field. When it's in a southerly orientation, negatives, negative numbers. -6 is what we look at for a threshold to kind of get the beginnings of, that angle is really at the correct position for the stuff to come in, easier, to give us a more hard hit, if you will, from anything that's coming from space, right? Essentially from the sun. So we look for the BZ, that's the red line here. Notice you see a BX and a BY. It's crossed out here. I'm not going to get into what those all are. You guys can look at that yourself. All you got to do is just Google it, or even just click on some of the tabs on some of these space weather sites. But for what we do, I'm going to keep it simple, and we're just going to look at the BZ, which essentially is just the angle of our magnetic field. So when it gets negative position, obviously we stayed in negative position here a good amount of time here. What time frame is that? From 5 to 9. So about 3.5, 4 hours there, we were in a good position. And if you go, excuse me, sorry about that, guys. That was rude. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. If you go back here and you look what happened. We were real close to geomagnetic storm levels there. So I was wondering what the heck is happening there, because none of this was forecasted. None of it. So I started looking around. I couldn't really find anything, and I came across, again, spaceweather.com. I can't say enough good things about this site. I really can't. Dr. Tony Phillips does a really awesome job over here. This little part up here was different. Okay, it says minor geomagnetic storm. See, he's actually doing what I'm doing right now. He's probably about the only other one out here talking about this, because I've seen it right when it happened. So, he's changed this part. So what we're going to do, I'll show you what the article read, what this page looked like yesterday. Well, actually just a few hours ago. And we'll read what he said there. Let's see if he talks about that. Actually, no. He's talking about the Ring of Fire solar eclipse. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe he talks about it down here. But he did talk about it, and maybe he just changed it, and it's just not there anymore. But regardless, what he talked about there was that exact thing I just showed you. The geomagnetic storm conditions, and it wasn't even in conditions. It was a KP of 4. Okay, here. And what he said that was from a CME that was kind of skirting close to the Earth. And I would agree with that. Okay? It really does seem like that's what happened. We had a CME that blew off kind of off to our side that everybody thought was going to miss. It might give us a glancing blow. I actually reported on that CME, and I said that. I said that those exact words. Hey, I don't think it's going to hit us, but, there's an off chance that it could. Well, it really didn't hit us, okay? What happened was it got close enough to us that it was just giving us some of that energy, and it was disturbing our magnetic field in a very small way that it only got us into here. And the small way I'm talking about is the density, okay? The density really spiked. Doesn't really show up real well here, but you can see a spike here, up to about 20 on the density. 4 is what we consider normal, all right? So if you come here, what's going on here? Well, we're not really spiking here, but you see how what I call popcorn? This purple line is the solar wind speed, That's what that's representing. Okay. So when you see what's called popcorn, that means conditions are pretty variable. In other words, they're fluctuating up and down. Okay, they're not staying consistently straight. A data point on here is exactly what I just said. It's a point. It's an actual dot, like a pixel on your TV. So when you see what looks like popcorn, that means that each data point is significantly different from the one prior. So it's kind of going up and down, up and down, up and down. Because if it was consistent, it would look like a straight line. Like you see this black line up here? You see, if you watch this number, see where it says 13 in that box? It stays 12, 13, 12, 13, 11. It stays really consistent, and it looks like a straight number. Well, you go down here, and you're not going to see that at all. I mean, it's jumping all around. So I call that popcorn. So if you ever hear me say that, that's exactly what I mean. So, but the BZ here also, here right when we got the storm level, it did bump down just for a short amount of time. Okay, we tilted. Boom. Our magnetic field tilted down, and we were getting these conditions at the right exact moment in time, and it put us up in the storm level. Now, what you're going to see from this is mainly just an uptick in aurora. Okay, I would start looking for some good aurora photography from this whole day. I've been hearing some things anyway about how they, it sparked some pretty good aurora back when it did this. Okay, so now we're not going to see it down in mid latitudes, as far south as you're going to see it when we're talking northern hemisphere, maybe the border, the Canadian USA border, but there's a chance it could come down a little further. But again, guys, so G1. So how do I just showed you the Discover data, right? Well, there's another one that I showed you guys one other time. It's this, okay? This is not the KP, this is the HP. It's the same thing, but they're giving us readings every 30 minutes. Do you notice anything different? Right here. 5 is the threshold for storm level. We popped up and popped right back down. So that's why we got storm level right there. That's what it's showing you. This is giving us, like I said, it's every 30 minutes. And I think they have one that's every 15 also. But this one's every hour. So, again, in my opinion, the KP is definitely still useful, okay? It's giving us the same data, just in a different time frame. So, but this can let us know, hey, yeah, we did take a small little hit here, just for a short amount of time. Now, if I had looked at this and this was up here still, or even climbing, we'd be probably having a little bit different of a conversation. This is not going to be that big of a deal. It's not. So what's causing it, right? What caused the reading to go up there? I do believe it was that CME and maybe even a part of another one, or even a coronal hole stream that was just close enough to our magnetic field that it was able to disturb it just enough. Because we didn't even get to a KP of 6. The KP of 6 would be a G2 storm. We barely got over 5 here, about a 5, 6 or something like that on the KP. Well, I say KP, it's the HP here. But, again, this is a German tool, by the way. Okay? This is probably why a whole lot of people don't even know this existed. I didn't know this existed until about 2 weeks ago. And again, I was watching Tam at the Scove, and thanks, go check her out, guys. She, it's free college over there. I promise you. She's a space weather woman. Go check her out. Name's Tam at the Scove. I've shouted her out a lot of times. I've learned a lot. I've never ever talked to her, ever. But she's intelligent, and she cares about what she's doing. She's a physicist, and I'm telling you, she really seems to know what she's talking about. I mean, I have all the confidence in what she says, to be honest with you. And again, always try to give you guys the people that are positive people, and that are trying to give you good information, and trustful information, and she's one of them, in my opinion. So anyway, so you got the R1 storm here, and that was a radio blackout. It came from this flare here. So let's go over here to SDO. Let's take a look and see what we got on extreme ultraviolet from the SDO satellite. And before I take you to the satellite, I told you guys I'm going to do this about every time. Okay, I'm going to show you where the satellite's at. This helps people understand what I'm talking about. This satellite's right here. It does this figure 8 pattern, and it stays over this part of the Earth at all times. But it's always got its eye looking at the sun. Okay? So as the Earth rotates around its own axis, this rotates at the same exact speed, which would be 15 degrees an hour. So that's what it does. So it stays in what's called geosynchronistic orbit. It stays in this exact position above this part of the Earth at all times. But it turns its eye towards the sun as it's, rotating around our axis with us. Okay? So because of that, every once in a while the Earth will actually get in between the satellite and the sun, and it'll eclipse it. I got this question today in the comment section. That's why you see stuff like this. Now, this is not SDO data here, okay? This is GOES data, but it's essentially the same scenario, all right? It's not the exact same thing, but when you see this downward spike in X-ray, that means that the detector is in a position that it can't detect X-ray at all, because the Earth is actually blocking the X-ray from getting to the detector, the satellite that's on the GOES satellite. In other words, the GOES satellite is on the dark side of the planet in a position that it can't see the sun at all. It's for a very short amount of time, here and here, okay? That's why that drops out. It's a very legit question. I've actually talked about that multiple times, but that's why you see that inverse line just drop out. Also, this flare here was long duration. Okay, it went up here. You see how it didn't just go straight up and straight down, kind of like this one did. It went up and it slowly tapered off. Okay, we tend to see a little bit more radiation with those. That wasn't necessarily the case with that one because it really wasn't directly facing us, if I'm recalling it right. So let's go back over here to SDO. Now we're going to go back to where we can look at the extreme ultraviolet captures, okay? And we are going to take a look at let's take a look at the 94, okay? Let's see what that gives us. And most of the activity is going to be coming from this sunspot over here. Okay, that's that big one from the one that transversed the sun and made it all the way through. As a matter of fact, it rotated through the backside. This is like its second time around. There it went. You see that? That right there, I promise you, is probably what? Yeah. That's what that M flare was. Okay, watch right here. Well, I'll show you here in just a second. It's coming. Right about. Watch what happens. Here we go. There it goes. See that? That, and I would have to say that probably shot out a pretty good CME. Oh, did you see that at the end? I didn't see that till just now. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm not, I could be wrong in what I just said. Watch right here. Right there. See that? Wow. That looks to be like what we would call a canyon of fire. That's one of those phenomenon. I haven't seen this yet. It's the first time I'm looking at it. That's a filament that has released off, guys. Let's go look at the 304 because we'll probably be able to see it better. This 94 angstrom doesn't show it very well, but you can definitely see something happen there. There is no sunspot there. So with that being said, it doesn't mean that you can't have flares and CMEs where there isn't any sunspots. It's just typically when we see it outside of sunspots, it does come from filaments. So let's look at the 304 which is what we would do any other time. So let's do that and see if we can see anything. You see how dark that is? That's a filament laying across there, guys. Let's see what it does here at the end. My guess is it's going to lift off. Sorry, I had to get a drink of Coke there. Yep, that's exactly what that was. Okay, so let's take a look at that again, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. Matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. I'm going to run this to the end here so you guys get a better look at this. You're going to see it kind of start to stand up here. It's going to be kind of a dark, shadowed area, and it's going to light up that whole filament. Okay? So here we go. Okay. Now, you see how fast that went? I want to show you something. Okay, this is the filament. See how hard that is to see? This is a great way to show you guys. The sun's the background here, so you almost can't see it. So watch what happens. You can see it start from the surface here, and you can see the plasma just go right up this connection line, that filament. Okay, see it starting right here? Watch it follow it all the way up. See that? And I can't tell you if any of that left the sun. It looks like it's arcing back down. Looks like the sun's going to recapture that. So that may not even be a CME. We'll have to wait till the data comes in. It's too early to tell. Yeah. I'm back, guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. Wow. Sorry, guys. Are we good now? Let me know if we're good, guys. If we are, I'll get moving here again. Are we good? Sorry about that. Wow. I am so sorry about that, guys. Wow. I hit a man, I tell you guys this all the time. I hit that stupid hotkey again. I leave that there for a reason. I leave that hotkey there because I need it, and then when I should just shut it off when I go live. But anyway, let's go back to where we were at. Sorry about that, guys. I do apologize. But check this out, guys. I mean, this is really cool. This is something that I don't typically get to show you guys because it's just a really good way to show that, hey, when the sun's the background, it makes things harder to see. But you can see how you get a little dark little filament action going on here. This also gives you an idea how big these things are. And I'll give you an idea here in just a second. Let's go back to where it's actually erupting here. Okay, right there. So it starts here, goes like this, and all the way around. So you're looking at, oh gosh, I don't even want to guess. You're looking at 30, 40 Earths wide just from here to here. So as it goes across there, you know. Hey, John. Hey, Christine. Good to see you. But notice how that happens right there? Ain't that cool, though? I just think that's cool. Now, they would probably call that a canyon of fire because it did look like it opened up on both sides on the surface there. It's nothing more than just plasma moving around there, guys, okay? I'm not going to get into detail what that is. I call it a canyon of fire because that's what they call it, right? It does look like that, so I'll give them that much. But I'm not sure if it's such a great name. Because when we're talking about the sun, guys, we're really not talking about fire. I hope people understand that. You're talking about a nuclear a nuclear thing happening, all right? Fusion and all these things. So I'm not even going to go, yeah. Anyway, let's just move on, right? Hey, Trish, good to see you. Anybody else in there I missed? I apologize if I missed anybody. But yeah, so let's go up here to the top. Let's take a look at where this thing did its thing. And again, guys, I'm not going to be able to give you a really good answer of where what caused this storm. We had so many smaller CMEs popping off. We had just a whole lot of things. Now check this out. This is cool too. You see how far that's standing up over top of the sun? That thing is tall, right? So it's going to give me a chance to show you guys solar rain. Now solar rain isn't water, it's plasma. What did it do that for? I hate it when it does that. On it, man. Let's do it this way then. Okay, so watch that. See that solar rain? Look at that. Ain't that cool? I know it's moving back and forth here, but see it? Raining down there? I just think it's awesome. It tells you, you know, the different things that we got going on our sun. You know? And right now, see, if you guys can look right here, that's a filament too. So that's kind of what we've seen down here. Right? So let me, we'll go forward again. We'll take a look at what happened here again. See that? See how fast that is? See it shoot out like that? And I don't think any of that really left the sun, guys. At least from what I can see, unless more of it happens again. So, I can't, again, I wish I could give you a better answer on why we're having this geomagnetic storm. Well, it's gone. The storm conditions are already over. And I said that earlier. But what we can do, let's go look at seeds, because that'll give us a coronagraph we can look at. And it'll be pretty, you know, if we could see anything here. Let's go, this is Lasco C2. It's on Soho, which is another satellite out by about 1 million miles closer to the sun. Now I want to I was going to show you guys this anyway, but I was just waiting to show it because I wasn't sure if I was going to do a stream or not. You guys see those eruptions happening here? I'm going to point something out to you that I don't know if anybody else is seeing it or not. You guys see this? That's a full halo. So what does that mean for people that don't know? This black occulter disk is there. It blocks the main light of the sun. That's a physical disk on the camera. Remember, the satellite is 1 million miles closer to the sun, but it's from our perspective, so it's kind of out in front of us. So with that being said, we can't see exactly what's right in front of us because of this black occulter disk. So what do we look for? We look for halo signatures. In other words, energy poking out around the occulter disk. So if it comes around the whole thing, that means one of two things. Either it's coming directly at us, or it's going directly off the backside. Okay? So if I could take this, you can see that. Now I'm going to back this up. So the eruption starts right there. Notice this is some plasma. This is energy popping out around here. See that? See how it popped out all around there? Now it's really faint, so it's not real like intense or anything. But whatever popped off there on the 13th is either coming right at us or it's going directly off the backside. So how do we know? Well, we used to be able to go over to stereo A, and we still can. It'll give us a better idea. But this is the next day, by the way. This is the 14th. It's today. And as you can see here on the end, you'll see another eruption. Right there. Okay? You know what that is, guys? You see the position here? See the time frame? I'm going to back that up a little bit. It happened right around, let's just call it 22, maybe a little bit before, because this is a black occulter disk, and the surface of the sun is kind of like this. All right, you see this white circle over here? That's the surface of the sun. That's how much bigger the disk is than what the sun is, the surface. So we got to allow for that time, right, to poke out. So whatever left the sun left about 2 hours before we've seen it. So that's 23. So around 21 or 20, which would be 10 or 11. I'm sorry, 8 or 9. Yeah. So let's go back over here and let's see when this happened. That's the 14th at, there's 20. So we're going to look for this filament, see what happened here, okay? Yep, see? Look where that popped off. You guys see that? Right there. So, yes, this filament, I can now tell you, did produce this CME. This is the process I go through to tell you guys whether or not we have CMEs, if one's coming at us or not. Okay? I look at all these things. So I can tell you that this CME right here that this is showing us right now, that came from that filament over here on SDO. Okay? So, you know, take that for what it's worth. And again, is it coming at us? That's going to be yet to be seen. It didn't look like it was like flicking out our direction, but if it's big enough, it definitely could have. So it is in a position that it really has a decent chance. Now, it did look like, judging by this capture, it did look like it was moving more southerly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to stereo A and see if it shows us anything. Okay, now it's not. But we don't have a whole lot of data here, guys. Okay, it's something that's been happening with stereo A quite often. We're not getting all the data all that great lately. The other ones seem to be, you know, doing okay. Now, this is the 13th. This is when that halo eruption I was showing you guys on seeds. I don't see nothing blowing off the backside. I do see a little bit of energy here. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not even going to claim that halo signature I seen is coming at us. I can't say that. I can't give you a definite on that. I can give you probably like a 50-50 at this point. We look at the red, though. It does look like something. I don't see nothing back here, but I do see stuff here. So either way, it doesn't look like it's going to be all that big of a thing. So, you know, it's really, if anything comes from it, guys, I'll let you guys know. How about that? I wish I could give you a better answer, but I did want to show you guys, like I said, you know, you guys seen the process I go through. You know, because I even said when I was looking at this, I don't know if this is going to produce a CME or not. And then when I looked over here on seeds, and we seen that, you know, this, at the end of the time lapse, and the time matched up, right there, okay? When those two time frames matched up, and there's an eruption right there, then yeah, that did produce a CME. So whether or not it's coming at us, you know, it has a chance, but I can't say 100 right now. There's absolutely no way to do that until more data comes in. It hasn't, well, it picked it up right here. Okay, so let's, so that is the CME. So, I'll tell you what, let's look at this one more time here. G1. Well, yeah, of course they're going to say G1 on the 15th now. That wasn't showing that a minute ago. Because guess what? We had a geomagnetic storm that they missed. So, and it's okay. I mean, that's why. This right here. Let's go ahead and update that. See what it gives us. Okay. You guys see that? I want you guys to really look at that. We were up here at about a 5.5 on the chart here on the HP. It dropped all the way down to almost 2 within, these are half-hour increments, within 2 hours. So we're not even close to the storm level right now. Not even close. So that should, you know, give you guys a pretty good idea there on how quick conditions can change. So I'll tell you what, let's look at the magnetosphere, because we'll be able to see it hit. Right here. We should anyway. Let's hit play on these. The sun's off to the left. So all the space weather's coming from left to right. and you can definitely see this is density. Okay. Um, yeah, you see this? That's some pretty good magnetic pressure. Um, everybody understands what pressure is, right? So, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking at there. So when we see that amount, we can, we got a good chance of having some geomagnetic storm conditions. So that's what you're seeing. All right. I wish I could give a little bit more pinpointed stuff there, but I just can't. There's nothing really there else to show you there. So, but let's do this real quick. I should have done this before but yeah. So let's do this. But I'm glad I got to show you guys the little bit of the process that I go through, okay? Because I think it's important you guys see that. And I want you guys to be able to go do that yourself. That's my goal. My goal has always been to be able to show you how to use these tools. Okay? You guys are smart. You guys can handle this. This is, I really hope that you guys understand that really is what I try to do. But something else I've been doing here lately, guys, doing all the space weather at the beginning, right? So I hope you guys appreciate that also. But we had one of the best interviews we've had ever on the lifeboat tonight, I have to say. It was very educational and from a great person, two brothers right here, guys. You got Tommy and Johnny. This is Johnny. This is Chase the Heat. It's Johnny Scoville. He might be in the chat still, not sure. But you guys know my partner Tommy, obviously. But guys, please go check this out. Please check out this for sure. I'm gonna put a link in the chat here real quick, and I'm not gonna beat this down onto you guys. Okay, been really trying not to. It's hard for me not to because I'm so passionate about this, and me and Tommy work so hard at this stuff over here, and we really are affecting people's lives in a really positive way. So when something good, like when Johnny comes on and shares his struggle with addiction of multiple drugs, and we just scratched the surface of his story, and they're tied together. Obviously, they're brothers, right? So please come check us out. Give us a chance. Again, we only grow if you guys come over here and really try to help us support this. And guys, we've gotten lots of people help. We're available 24 hours a day. Me and Tommy are. We made ourselves that. We've done a lot of things in the background. We just don't talk about it. That's not why we do it. We're not doing it for the fame or anything like that. We're doing it because we were in those positions and we want to help people out of those positions, and we want to help them prevent their kids from getting into those positions. That's where the problem's fixed, guys. It starts in the home. Our generation can at least start the healing, if not fix it. Okay? But it won't manifest until the next generation hits. Okay? We can put band-aids and stuff on what we're dealing with in our lives, but to hit at the root problem, we have to start with our kids. Always remember, you are a parent first. You are not their friend until you're their parent first. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. Doesn't matter if they get mad at you or not. Okay? So be a mom, be a dad first. It's very important to know that. Love them. Love them all the time. You're loving them by asking them those questions. Okay? So please understand all that. And we talk about that often over here. So please, guys, come over here and check us out. I'm gonna put the link here in the chat again. There it is. Please come check us out. Give us come over here and subscribe and check it out. We're there every night not every night, Friday to Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. We do a live stream, 1 hour. That's what we do every day. Okay? Friday to Tuesday. We take Wednesday and Thursday off. And guys, you know what we do? We do it on the weekends because that's the hardest time for an addict's life. And we ask the crew, you know, when do you want us to be here? You don't get judged over there. None of that. If you're high, if you're drunk, please come over there. We're not going to kick you out of the chat. That's not what we do. We want you there. We want to help. So, yeah. Anyway, guys. uh, hey, Kathy, be careful of that, okay? Just saying. I would research a little bit about that. I'm not gonna sit here and talk anything different than that. I'm not gonna go any further, but you might want to research that where that stuff is coming from. Okay. Um, I will say this that um those same words you just used there have been said about 12 times over there. Just so you know. Um, I've been in this community now for about 5 or 6 years, and I have to say that, yeah, putting time frames or putting a date on something is I think it's the wrong thing to do. We can kind of get a good guess, right? And that's all it is. It's a guess. Nobody knows exactly when anything's going to happen. So there is no benefit whatsoever in pinpointing one day or a really small, like 1 or 2 day period or even a week is pushing it. Okay. And the reason I say that is because it's only going to be right one time. Any other time that you say that, it's going to be wrong. So what that does is it lowers credibility, and we don't want that because it even though we're not trying to cry wolf, it's almost what it becomes. Because if you're out here saying something's going to happen really bad tomorrow or next week, and it never does, so you come up with some excuse why, or you just don't talk about it, which happens a lot, and the goalpost just keeps getting moved over and over and over again, and at the end of the day, it damages the whole community because it does really put a damper on what people are going to look at because they don't trust it. So please be careful of any date setting or any of that kind of stuff. And I say that to everybody, not just one particular person. It's, yeah, you know, we got to be aware. We can know the season. If you're a Christian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not pushing my religion off for anybody. I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example. You know, as a Christian, we're told in the Bible that, you know, we can know the season. We're just not going to know the day or the hour. So it's okay to prepare and get ready, but please don't give specific dates. It's a mistake. Because I promise you, I can go back if I wanted to, and I'm not going to do this because it's number one, it'd be a waste of my time. Number two, it's just not productive. I could go back to just about anybody who has set a date, and I could promise you that they said dates multiple times, and none of it's been correct and ever. It's not correct, because if it was correct, we wouldn't be here talking right now. And what it does is it really does bring some doubt. So I'm not going to keep on that. I don't like talking about that, but I did feel like I needed to address that a little bit because, and it has nothing to do with what you were talking about, that channel there. I don't say channel names or anything like that. You guys know that. We don't talk bad about other channels here. I'm using a date setting thing there. It's not about what goes on over there on that channel. Okay. So please make sure you understand that first off. But anybody setting dates, please try to refrain from doing that. It's just not good. Just not good. You okay, Rebecca? I've seen somebody sorry for your loss. Go back here and look. Oh, I'm sorry. That's horrible, Rebecca. Man, that's just prayers for you, for sure. That's horrible. Okay, see you, John. See you, bud. Well, thanks, Tab. I appreciate you. And I think that anybody out here doing anything in this realm that we do, is doing something, right? So we don't talk negative about people. We just try to give legitimate criticisms. And that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not attacking anybody personally ever. I never will. You will never hear me do that. If you ever hear me do that, I can promise you somebody has really crossed a huge line with me. And it takes a lot to get me there. And I can't tell you how much it takes because I don't know that I've ever been there on this platform. So just know that. Usually in my real life, if you've got me to that level, we're probably not talking no more. We're probably fighting. And I'm not kidding. It takes a lot to get me to that point. But just saying. Let's see here. I've been on a date in 7 years, Squid. I ain't trying to say that, man. Please go. Anyway, before we go all off the deep end over there on that one, I'm just going to keep moving. All right, guys. God bless you. One more time. One more time for the Gipper here. How about that? Anybody that lived during the Reagan years knows exactly what I just said there. There is a link there in the chat. Please come check us out. That is the link to the lifeboat. Please come check us out. Again, I really am passionate about that, and I really hope you guys do trust me enough to come over and give it a shot. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves. And, yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.